stage of the UEFA Champions League here, and then with the new rule, once UEFA has scrapped off the away goal rule, and from now onwards, so over qualifier, I will say you have to outscore your opponent. So what I say now, away goal rule ni enye jwe say bia wakwa away wakwa ni ayashe wakwa we need 2-1. Now be fiaba be lose 1-0. Nse nke 2-2 initially no. Now they away goal na they qualify. Now say we see a be den extra time. Wow. Now another 30 minutes, 15 each. Yes, 15 minutes each in the first and second half. A winner amba then makoko penalty shootout. And that there say team e kwako ball we no kwako yire no hwanya we go no be fia just come and get qualification you been with the draw no. You have to ask up through and then say oh qualifier you have to outscore your opponent before you can qualify. 2 games and Abaso Sporting Lisbon at home to Man City and the big game at PSG and Real Madrid. Sporting Lisbon team no yes this season we saw the Portuguese league last season, but after winning the Portuguese league almost transfer most of their best players and out and see eventually like everybody a new team once again because last season the likes of players now no Martin Timai the Portuguese league you know some of them left and see a new project once again and now was Sporting Lisbon. But what you this season are there almost stronger the rate at which like go conceding rate or form pa form because line up in a 3-back when they line up in the 4-3-4-3 formation and the short on the train no federal that Moroccan international Curtis or Liverpool so or Liverpool and Nuno Inacio on the Portuguese international so say no line up in a 3-back no about 4 then 3 in attack the 3 attack Paulino Nuno Santos and Sarabia that Spanish international eti consider a lot of goals. So this is in the Portuguese league now Tino they've only conceded 15 goals out of 22 matches that they've played in the Portuguese league. It's a chance say they are not conceding a lot of goals. Now group stage you know the amount who qualify the goals they scored because we game group stages no one just 9 points each. At the year no because head-to-head engagement because head-to-head engagement then just want to qualify based on 2 matches that they played. But you know a goal scored they scored more goals than Dortmund so they qualify based on the goals they scored more than Dortmund and this stage you know. Now Man City team where how they qualify from the group that had Paris Saint-Germain that had the likes of Leipzig and co. Almost a very strong team. Even and then without Gabriel Jesus, Grealish, the likes of Kawaka, our right card, no, they still have enough squad depth to get that kind of result they want in front of Portugal. And I need to give for Man City, you know, that one I can tell you for a fact because of how our Lisbon team no set up and how they play. Just last weekend, yeah, I watched them against FC Porto, but for small even Omunya record until first from Omunya record, but they still were able to lead 2-1 now until somewhere 80th minute and then a Porto for Etikano Amana 2-2. So they have a very good team and they set out to frustrate opponents. So in that 3-4-3 system, no, or set it up to frustrate opponent. And then yes, City will dominate possession. All that they have to do in terms of possession, creating a lot of openings and things. But one thing that Sporting Lisbon will do, better, they will close our spaces to make all those runs that although you are having more possession, you are creating all openings. But I say, if you are not decent chances because of how they set up. And then it's a very tired game. Far away Sporting no, but I still believe City have enough quality to get a positive result out of this game coming into 3 weeks time. I'll go in for a slim win, 2-1 win for Man City in far away Sporting. Tino the big game, PSG at home to Real Madrid. So what's your PSG team now? Are comfortable? Yes, leading the French League A, but they haven't been convincing. They are winning games, but not in a convincing manner. And just that Omo won dey brute teams in nya so nti omo yiri ya den ya last minute bi na 1-0 match go no dey win. Until last week against Rennes, could you believe that a team that had Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, Icardi played that game. About 5 strikers, and that's a forward stop or in now. But we no mean only one shot on target in 90 minutes, and then the only goal that they scored, and for me a 90+4. It's put a team yes on what the stars, but I do more like it, to be able to really convincingly. Games about where the PSA winia or more winning convincingly. But I never acquire a so saying about big players and say Tino. So do the idea. That is where you see big players showing up. And this is in the big game that I've seen PSG played. Make sure against Man City at the Parc des Princes. That game that they won 2-0. Messi came to the party. Mbappe came to the party. Neymar came to the party. All of them came to the party. Internet say PSG per se. Or maybe be out of this game, a bit better on how they set up the midfield. And good news is this Ghana game is back. Verratti is back to fitness. It's a name because Herrera fitness and within either Herrera or Paredes who will play alongside this Ghana game and about the Verratti to at least be able to contain the Real Madrid midfield of Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, and Casemiro. On any day, these are midfielder. They will control games. But there, Toni Kroos and Modric and then pace and strength. And so yeah, midfield. Now you're able to have the pace and strength to outnumber them and out. This in the outstrength them in midfielder. You have the opportunity to also play some. This season, Real Madrid strong card pa Karim Benzema on the screen is on. So far, an example, he was 5 goals, almost 17 goals in the league. He's their top scorer. In their last 3 games. Benzema only 1 goal. Tino. Real Madrid's last 3 games without Benzema, they scored only 1 goal. So it tells you how the team is built around Benzema for goals. So lucky for them, Benzema is fit to play. As whether or you're fully fit, and as how fit we can't tell. But and the news is that our best starting game, Real Madrid. And so what Benzema or Vinicius Junior, say Rodrigo, say Hazard, say Bale, who is back in fitness and the partner a solid attacking throw that on any day they can be able to threaten you. And then let's see, because this aside that almost consider a lot of goals. Because here so far the goals that PSG have considered, goals that Real Madrid have considered. Real Madrid strong card. It's our back four no. Alaba and Militao very very strong in defending. And one game that it's very difficult based on how two teams are set up in a 4-3-3 formation. But whoever wins that midfield battle, which I think say strength there, I'll go in for a branch of PSG team based on strength. Okay. They can run, they can tackle. But it's a control the game there. They're going for Toni Kroos, Casemiro, and a bunch for Luka Modric. And it's another a slim once again. Yeah, team are about convincing victory. So if anyone wins, a 1-0, 2-1, and I fancy PSG, though they are struggling to win the game. If there's going to be a win 1-0 or 2-1 for PSG.
Me da say Zakito. Kofi.
Tino.
Boko there.
Radia don boko.
Yenko kakra na champions ne grow in
Yeah. The Liverpool bebo. Yeah, ochina. Before that, and daughter Papa Kwesi Indium birthday. Daughter Papa Kwesi Indium birthday. Ono na ma me di kan hu Radio Musica Fest. Radio Musica say ya mo bi sika o radio. Ida ketu anase bibi je sha ho. Daughter Papa Kwesi Indium media outlet friends at home can 99.5 FM and Ocean 1 TV. All of them in Elmina, Satamaja, me a student to University of Cape Coast, I've been very close to the man. Many opportunity in any Juma as a student leader, Mekai, and program back where a guest speaker, how I know was a lobby me general manager. Notiminya Dr. Parkwesi Indium as our guest speaker for that particular program. No, it was something mire infida and Clementino, the genesis of our media career no daughter a play integral role and we are very, very purposeful in every aspect of any pabrabo, health, construction, sports, media, communication, but just name them.
Okay.
And to say, do Dr. Parkwes Indium birthday, Ayana, me happy say I've been part of Group Indium some time ago. I had many opportunity to reach this height. Doc, yeah, we show happy
birthday. Happy birthday to Lucia Osei Akoto. Lucia Osei Akoto. We free over pa Akoto Bright of CID Operations Central Police Station. No mame Olivia Akoto. I say happy birthday and confirm Lucia Osei Akoto. Yankwe say.
Well, Tinu, ma in see. Born again, and I yenye maka crowd screen so na yenye no man kakra. Paris Saint-Germain for your party prince elbow against Real Madrid. One of the best performing teams in the Champions League against the best team ever on planet Earth and the best team in the history of the Champions League. So Paris Saint-Germain the last 2 seasons in the Champions League. What about final of the Champions League? No about in the semi-final of the Champions League. He played in the final of the Champions League and lost to Bayern Munich. A season later, against Manchester City in the semi-final. So the last 2 seasons, Paris Saint-Germain final of the Champions League and semi-final of the Champions League. This is the level of Paris Saint-Germain when it comes to the Champions League. Clementino. So offer PSG progress the last 2-3 seasons in the Champions League. Per the signing some year during the summer. Now you mudu dona Gidi said this is the right time, the right opportunity. Said to my friends at Paris Saint-Germain at the Champions League. Now Mamika Sasimu said when they signed a brand friend and said Lionel Messi. This is how our PSG Fuano unveiling Lionel Messi. And this is how our supporters and also embrace our brand friends at Lionel Messi. But the Kamame, the Eiffel Tower unveiling. See, we said Mekasa last time I near discuss Lionel Messi ni move to Paris Saint-Germain. Na legend Eka say sa Eiffel Tower ono anka say he has been there and when him CBT my way say and that's so. See, the very moment you go to Paris, Clementino, now Ombeko say kwa rent this famous tower. Say the Babe on Velu no catch the magnitude of signing now more attached to Lionel Messi. At the end of that so no. The magnitude of the signing. Now Pekesata ma Lionel Messi eshene that shiny suit. Omia that blue I mean pink now. What then say is why it may rate is a famous tower no. You see sir they attach a lot of significance to Lionel Messi signing no. No muhune say so omo Neymar na so mo Mbappe na the Lionel Messi eka ho the Champions League is a done deal. Why? Because with Neymar and Mbappe won Champions League final. With Neymar and Mbappe they've seen the Champions League final. So when we add a brand of friends Lionel Messi to this squad, it's good enough for the ultimate in terms of the Champions League. And I'm going to brand of friends Lionel Messi by Clementino Messi by no. Say oh Same ni season so far our Paris Saint-Germain and quote to the expectation I free Messi ni PSG ho. And at the moment so pick Paris Saint-Germain ye pa tactically obetimi kra ka say easier playing PSG today than playing PSG without Lionel Messi. Minim so oyatiasia. Before some Messi babano, ne difficult playing against Paris Saint-Germain than na Messi about become Paris Saint-Germain.
Then no problem.
The reason is very simple. Before some Messi babano, they had 2 superstars up front. That is Mbappe and Neymar. Mm-hmm. Who because of their stardom, they've become lazy players up front. Because of the level no mudo muhakotono. Omaye lazy in terms of defending. And it's a PSG for Boboa. The art of defending is a Lusubona. Mbappe when you're part of the team defending. Abrante friend say name so you're part of the team's defending. And already before Senna Messi Bebano, say PSG for Boboa 2 players in defending.
Almost short to me, you know.
Almost short to me, you know. And they are the most laziest among them because of standard. in terms of team need defender. So now PSG our 3 players are in terms of defender or more liability 3. But what I say, and so person who said the year when they were playing against Manchester City, and then because City about with game control, total game control, dominance, high pressing football. Now some more press, some more high sana. You need players on betting sacrifice up front row. No matter boy for this normal day on my defender against Manchester City. Obo was Abrante Fresala and Messi Nante. Obo was say Neymar Nante, Mbappe Nante. So in this modern era, it's extremely difficult to say. Obo football of 90 minutes. Not 3 of your strikers in England obedient to me are the defensive duties. And then say Paris Saint-Germain, it's easier to play them as compared to before say Abrante Fresala and Messi Beba. But see, ideally say offer PSG squad now. The reason why they don't have that balance is because of a front trainer and no one seven American like they don't add defensive duties. But and yes, Adiana, the most fortified team in terms of department by department. And like they said, Donnarumma a better post in him. Hakimi and Sharaf Bebo, Personal Kimpembe, and the Marquinhos a Bebo center back row. Ghana Gay, under Herrera, and the Marco Verratti in Medford. Neymar ain't fully fit, so he may not start, but he's part of the squad. Neymar, Mbappe, Di Maria, Lionel Messi. So offers our attack we are on any day. And you're the best in the game. And it's comparable to Real Madrid squad and Omade Bana. In terms of quality, so offer individual players are. They are better than Real Madrid. But today Madrid are a better team than team of France at Paris Saint-Germain. In terms of balance, in terms of total play, you get it. Because the attack of Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Di Maria, and they compare Madrid attack, and they compare Benzema, Marco Asensio, and Vinicius Junior, then Eden Hazard. And so compare cell to attacks ya make Wasimia. On Mame, Messi, and Vinicius. Whilst today, PSG 4 will count on Lionel Messi. Madrid 4 will count on Vinicius Junior. In terms of standard, any class, Emua. But Vinicius Junior performance over the last 2 seasons, any this season, oh boy. Ekacho say he's a player with me and Daretino. And so person who Vinicius Junior year pa to boss nation the last season Champions League. That game between Liverpool and Real Madrid. You understand the kind of player today. Oh yeah. And then say Real Madrid for air attacker. It's not more about any other forward of Real Madrid. It's about Vinicius because only Ojeboni taking on defenders. On any movement, any creativity, any Abrante French Benzema, it those number of goals now watching. So clearly, Vinicius very, very instrumental in the course of Real Madrid getting a point at Parc des Princes. But Clementino, near ten say, Madrid for knowing say, more attack, more team fan compare PSG for attack. Don't be said the strength of Real Madrid should come to play. Madrid for strength here, and your method. They are aging. But they are aging like a fine wine. It's fine for them. Because Luka Modric and signs of Obi Oweji. Toni Kroos and sign of Obi Oweji. And Casemiro is still Casemiro. So the strength of Real Madrid team, the method of Casemiro, Modric, and Abrante friends Toni Kroos. So Omubet me control game, they will also control game now. They could manage to get a point. Also, my cap point for Real Madrid because I don't see them picking the Tremors 1 point. Uteni. Apart the Prince, I don't see them picking the Tremors 1 point. But so let me pick a pointer. And you do not ever the Tremor method of Real Madrid. So let me control game against Marco Verratti, Idrissa Gana Gueye under Herrera. They stand a chance of getting 1 point. Okay. But put everything together. Apart the Prince, any the recent games I mentioned about Liu, and then the partners up front, Kylian Mbappe movement and then the runs. I still believe say game we ain't deciding in it. But what part depends there. Messi, Mbappe, then Di Maria, Neymar. Who make sure say 3 points in it. The worst for them, The worst for them should be a drawing game. But it's more of a metaphor battle between Marco Verratti and Toni Kroos, how it will go. But based on the dynamics of the game, you know, I'll still go in for PSG when double chance Paris Saint-Germain. Double chance for Paris Saint-Germain. So that is it.
But that's a Kofi Ricky. Captain
Tino. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Now, Tino, Mitchell na me call Atlanta USA. So wa unua Kofi Binimo. Kofi Binimo ne baba ya fe no Chelsea nimo ne no nya 18 years. Enti Kofi ene abusuan nyina e we Chelsea nimo happy birthday. Now also me fan to him. That's Kofi Binimo for you. Achi no am so betinenka. Now in the mindset of the UEFA, decided some best scrapple that away go rule just to ensure say betimi anya what they describe as positive football. The teams in ebe open up, don't be attacking conscious, and they'll be scoring goals because gone are the days I be a team be free say me boy Samire Monsha wana na ma city deep na ma making sure say me boy we are me protect that lead, you know. And if anything across the team no let me take her and now or shame on your slim margin me want the opportunity to play that team me home. It is a me could be fire me home. Then be sure one go crowd her I qualify because we one go away. But just what I say. And the UEFA trans, you know, the president of the UEFA, Alexander Safrin, what trans no. Your percent Champions League is much more fairer. Now, after you attacking football, yes, couples are doing free. It's a use any free war. It be making sure say team be any team be bar or be try to open up. So we enjoy football. Supporters anybody football. What they describe as a negative football, no, a better thing of the past. So that decision and the nay ebe juma. Now, at that game I go no. PSG against Real Madrid, no. One of those big games on UEFA calendar as far as Champions League is concerned. Team Bia in Europe. Uncle Bepa, Obe Real Madrid, and Uncle be a finals, be a semi-finals. But the draw, no, as it is, no, the opportunities that teams will be share. The biggest ambition for PSG, topmost priority in Europe now is to win the Champions League. And unfortunately, they are meeting Real Madrid at the point and also on their way. Team no FSL or Champions League. Hence they spent a lot. Team no last season like Nakofi Ekano. About last 2-3 seasons they've moved up. Those days when they go to Europe, I don't call England, no more Manchester United. Obi free and come be progress, no Manchester or France near you my film no. Or move out from that. And in the last 2 Champions League seasons now, we've seen them played in the Champions League finals, then in the semi-finals. So who are these players? Not Neymar and Mbappe, together with Di Maria, Emma with that performances now. Then if you add Leo Messi to it means he say your team is fortified for the Champions League finals. So and then PSG, the numerous supporters of PSG, the owners of PSG, and him say team no. Now every team up against any other team on this planet. Looking at the squad Mkuta. In fact, in terms of individual players there, many sure so many team we are saying neya don't compare them. The 3 players in Neymar, Mbappe, Messi alone. But I can say, per 10 best players in the world. Saturno, if footballers are saying, no. Tino, so we do our free say, over 10 best players. We are saying, 3 players we. And then boom, and then they on board PSG. So Uncle Bia, that not 2 years ago, PSG air against Real Madrid, so be no mutual for Moso. But if you know because you are playing against a team in terms of the Champions League, you know, almost I said not only in Boston team, Bia, I don't know magic as you know.
Now, Kofi was advancing the problem at PSG. My PSG team at the point in time, Pochettino, let me parade 3-4 attackers. Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, Di Maria in a game. Oh, say ya. Advantage I want to say yes, of course. Ube Timi Ashe. But the problem is that the moment I played with him was subject to midfield. As the team will be on also in terms of tactics, coach or well versed in the game, or good midfield be na Osiwachi problem at Uniano. And then Zakito Air Casse almost SDA now so convincing. And of course, so the French Ligue 1 now. I think they are 59 points now. Tima Ebe 46 in Marseille. But so winning games they concede a lot of goals because of say almost has subjected this midfield no. At any point in time, now attackers either say almost add defensive duty and now so these 4 attackers making sure they will win at all costs. And you are playing against Real Madrid team, and then some will play a bit to Vinicius Junior or up in the game. The goal scoring rate equals through. Or creative width when you are playing with them, or expand the pitch, say when he decides to play the game. Say nay, say Karim Benzema are a part of the team. He assured goals for Real Madrid. So it's going to be a cracker of a game. Experience of Real Madrid as against Tima, the biggest priority is to win the Champions League. And Kushiano. And UEFA a year front, the attacking game near Kwakwenny. Teams now who want to attack, want to open up, want to score. Because Madrid who say if you try to attack PSG, what it is that your midfield no a year you can take them on. And PSG also think say our team no good enough. At it game well like Kofi no. Yeah, they all qualify from this first leg. Maybe it will come in the second leg. But make us say be one here say PSG say Nema am far. I hear Pochettino T omo be twaso because of say how they see their team. I don't think the team is fortified and ready to go for the kill. So let's wait and see. And then you may have a good match. Manchester City against Sporting Lisbon. A game on paper is Manchester City. But then Pep Guardiola make a statement to me last week. Or can the radio interviews and what can Sembi say? Obia Manchester City say answer no be Champions League so until me win the Champions League. I just said the success story near ma o ma ye ni nyina no ono Pep Guardiola be ye nyina o e failure no. Pep Guardiola say o san pa no hu se da bi ahoye ana wo ye e for Manchester City ho e wo competitions o ma bo a o manya successes. Sadness we are working on one breath me ne ya adwene. On one breath me ne ya adwene. The be ne ya adwene say untimi nka sese waje Premier League or dominating or other leagues or onye hwe. Why bibi. Edu untimi nka se e failure. On that score me ne ba ya adwene. Na be me ne nya adwene kese ne say to no metaka semi or to whom much is given much is expected. It me liken City to Paris Saint-Germain. Uzo mi ende bia me ka so omo obi da omuntam. Etihad and Qatar. Omo nyina no oil rich countries are omo kingdom no e wo sika ye pa and they want to dominate Europe. But yet almost struggle. Na say o City team win. Na omo dominate English football. Omo bo game pa level omo do about Champions League finals. That's a sorry. So we share Pep Guardiola as a manager. Many see him, if not the best coach in the world, one of the best coaches in the world. You know, in Bayern Munich, 3 seasons, what he could do, they say Rombo semi-finals. And they or entirely sees Champions League competition with Manchester City. And I think so when you have this enough time, coupled with the players and the dominance in the English football now, I think the team must be good enough to prosecute the Champions League. But so, against Sporting CP won't be a problem. I know there will be 1 or 2 difficulties, but you be over the 2 legs now. City ebeba out as triumphant. But the statement say whoever actually says so winning the Champions League and why success. Now any bread and only bread so because answer no. I disagree with him big time.
But I say Captain Siajibo and to as well.
Champions League do him. Nti ene we are seeing attention be shifted to the UEFA Champions League. Competition and movements any decided competition no. And fa ho ne say the movement na esitie. E beta movement a efe. E beta movement a ugly say be airtime. But the most important thing is say that movement in the decided game no. And that is all about the UEFA Champions League. Since you change it from the then European Cup to the Champions League, Momuru almost 30 years more no, almost celebrate almost 30 years when the name changed to UEFA Champions League. And movements be bria. I decided the UEFA Champions League, which those movements near key movements. Recently, Siebekaya 3 seasons ago, and Liverpool did the UEFA Champions League. Liverpool beji Champions League no. Their road to the Champions League. Almost semi-final opponent was Barcelona. Barca ebebo against Liverpool no. No more lose any game in the knockout stage. Into Liverpool 3. Ewo Camp Nou. Then the return leg as at 76 minutes. Na Liverpool at 3. And a Liverpool nya corner. Anod ne kofa ball no. Yehu ya ne sa anod asori afi corner no ho awoko. Se wo jam obi o so ye dey o. Yese hu ya ne se wadan na chi wasa ba be fa ball no abo fast one. Na the Vogue Origi abo na to net. Liverpool 4 Barcelona 0. Ko ja corner ne bo. Na ko bi fufura abo. Ba wo corner o fi ne no se baby at the Vogue Origi jinai se me bobo no me kona me kobo na me bomba the Vogue Origi a ebetimi ahye am yenya 4 goal which ebe qualify to the final of the Champions League and okoye so offer that small space seconds no dey take his decision now you need intelligent players who betimi take his decision no before the second leg South Africa na Messi dey share Alisson Becker no some of the beautiful moments I won in the Champions League. Those nights I went to Akonyo ma besore ya bonsem. Adie de efe. Me use these 2 examples there ka say Clementino. Round of 16 year ye ba be sha ase enei at the big match Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain no. Yen prepare yourself for beautiful moments and ugly moments. Ni nyina betimi decide the game. Straight into the game. Tino Matrasia yadie bi kakra on the UEFA Champions League and may use since 2010-2011 to make this judgment. Na me fa 10 areas. Matuni di measurement 10 areas obi opeso oje Champions League ni bi ese wo. And after using these 10 areas no obi a wo tie mi bia no can easily make conclusion on when the betting aje Champions League need this season and size on betting me qualify. Champions League naturally from that period naturally say Ushe enough goals o stand the opportunity of winning. It too fast that period na team within that period one she goals do our the kwaje Champions League no was Chelsea. Omo average 1.7 goals per game. And that is the lowest since 2010-2011 season. I will be the Champions League. It offered this season Champions League year as at this stage the round of 16. Team are averaging the less number of goals. Lille 1.3 per goal per game. It made you catch her say and you can easily say Lille be free because many goals check. Measurement number 2 go against the number of goals you share edit yao. Watching this season's Champions League very carefully, Clementino. Who say teams now in the Champions League, no? Omo leaky goals. One Manchester United, 2 Atletico Madrid.
and these two teams in the be share with the round of 16. When I look at that area, I can take Manchester United and Atletico Madrid out from the Champions League race. Say, yeah, Pomon Beji Champions League now, they are not out. They are not part of it. Field control. How you control games. The last opponent, the fewest field control out of the Champions League now, comes back to Chelsea Tima, the Champions League 2011-2012. Field control was 56.1%. Over this season Champions League now, Clementino, munya more field control in the Champions League no, Juventus ne Salzburg. Champions League no watch say you need to control games before San wet me the Champions League no. Now okani nyina aboma. When you pick the top clubs, Champions League now, the lowest among them within this period Juventus. No more field control no. A move from Mauricio Sarwa domo consisted 2.8% field control. Pelo domo by 52. Under Allegri about 50. It is a use of field control to measure among the Champions League now. I can easily say this season based on the Champions League now. You can say Juventus and Salzburg ni side and it's in your montonkre. And for Montu baby. Then shots. The about the fewer shots in the Champions League this season Villarreal. About the fewer shots in the Champions League this season VRL into almost because of one you better disqualify omo. People doesn't believe in crossing. I know one area I just so instrumental when they game in him. Crossing into the opposition box. So person who time a goalkeeper struggle pa. When opponents know good crosses of the ball, normally the ball to the 18-yard box or the 6-yard box. I am the decision making head in the goalkeepers. Now offer sa area now, Clementino. Surprisingly, the weakest of all the teams that carry Champions League near PSG. The weakest.
That was an intimate pejabo on me.
Because offer money more crana if they play in the 4-3-3 formation. Their wingers, Obetiaga say either they will play Kylian Mbappe on the right and Neymar from the right. Kylian Mbappe was central, the Messi from the left. These are not natural crosses of the ball. They are born goal scorers. They want to take home players, beautify the game, score goals out to our bones and pa. It's about that area now. You take a club and say PSG out. Then you call pressing. Football assassin. It's about Betias say, Omo press ye pa no, Omo na Champions League no, Omo so timi call money pa. Now for this season Champions League na, Clementino. Omo pressing in ye, and it will surprise you. Omo pressing in ye. Inter Milan, Real Madrid. These two teams, no money now with the same group. But omo pressing in ye. Omo press opposition no. It omo no position ni ba. Say no omo na beje ball. No the ball na ball position is wa. So position ni kura ball all starting a build up, all start so attack no. Inter Milan and Real Madrid impress ye. Into omo mi enu de, Tino, ye be you omo film. Protecting your boss, ubo defense and now box no buying.
O schedule omo no.
Yes. Season when you good season for my Chelsea. It is a far clubs are more protect omo boss ye pa this in the Champions League. Bayern Munich, City, Liverpool, Ajax, Benfica. Oh, teams are my form no. Omo protect omo boss is Chelsea. Based on number of chances every omo box no, it doesn't give Chelsea chance of entering into the Champions League. Yebeko pace, yebeko fouls, then the final one air passing. It took a case anyo mani nyina boma. Yeba be read the round of 16 of the Champions League. Si yefan yo me do aya kan ho asem ya. Say no na yese etimi teams be team Champions League. We can easily say you read the round of 16 no. Omo ma pass omo exams when you use sa 10 measurement we are Bayern Munich and Ajax.
Two class.
Yes, Bayern Munich and Ajax. Omo marks no osro e chen other clubs ni nyina. And the game no nyoma kitikiti bi na be decide the game no. Enye din bebre nyoma kitikiti bi na be decide the game no. Medical catch you say PSG for no omo cross ball nko position half. And you don't see table court and then you may so best struggle. And a massacre was a Real Madrid form press it. It is obeti baby no see personal kimpembe. Ukrabo no nya dia. Real Madrid will not press personal kimpembe. Madrid be person mo ade ball no be ko position so but say PSG decided so mo bodo attack from the back. Real Madrid be jom so mo bodo attack, and one of the finest defenders are Clementino Mukrabo center back, so Mukrabo mu so comfortable, but he's been underrated because makase players no do mo ko share PSG project no me first players nas omako a golden prison. Your players be bro mo PSG and kenei omobo top list ni be Premier League, ebi omobo Serie A, omobo La Liga, based on the standard of my Ezebetino Clementino and can level be a defender be able to be an omo hobby before Thiago Silva be Premier League no so ko catch obi o Premier League say Jack Thiago Silva na level near Van Dijk mo level no onimbo oboche Harry Maguire oya ade kura che Ruben Dias omega just Jansen ke hunu ne keka because every single week onipa no nani hwe the English Premier League, he doesn't want the French league, but Aquano so a world class center back into a bar league. Even look at his age, and they say me ko catch Premier League for say Marquinhos a world class center back omega Jose Jawasem na dia ye Ruben Dias mo no mo ye na nyebi na Marquinhos ye into benya one flashy Champions League night with excellent performance etwam entemutie nka ho asem etine Marquinhos best start to build up no, then Achraf Hakimi on the right side because Real Madrid doesn't press etime hu se Vinicius no ne bebo no be press Hakimi uja Hakimi so say one more e wa bra one press na you are in danger. Then the midfield battle tino ya nya adaje hwe battle imame Luka Modric and Marco Verratti me hwe PSG games amahwe no recently na one way and then Mauricio Pochettino beko with Danilo, Paredes and Verratti. Paredes, Danilo, defensive stability. Danilo on Luka Modric. Paredes to stop Saab Rana. Karim Benzema bebe fifi abefa bono. Na ujane se one center backs be nunkwa because of what the skill set into betin be to no on be add Paredes account so be stop Benzema sa runs no. On the other way umpo na Messi na Neymar na Kylian Mbappe, but the only time a PSG team no moto nyuma de Abraham Verratti gina park ne so onyani there PSG day, and because he plays in the French league. You come for the some idea. You because go Premier League for the nobody talks about Marco Verratti. But some nice women, I am my excellent football. Then two teams in attack. Neymar and you possible so obe start game. Nti ombe ko PSG be ko with Messi, Kylian Mbappe and then Angel Di Maria. So me first annual ma we nyina na make kabuma. The me who this season Champions League ni say Real Madrid lose game bia wa we. And the PSG soon lose game be our home. Tino who they make no. Real Madrid lose game be our way, and the PSG soon lose game be our home. But recently, PSG actually said they have found a nice way to beat big clubs in the Champions League and even eliminate them. Okay, last season what they did to Barcelona. Okay, last season what they did to Bayern Munich. Sakaratan and the PSG ni. The master table this Sakaratan. If you want to win the Champions League, these are clubs are over showman's and watch the Champions League, you know. Real Madrid need excellent form based on their last 4 matches on my ball. Over that period now, PSG bought even the French Cup almost film against Nancy. But okay, can you mention boom? Individuals taking decisions, movements, a basis will give him Clementino. And then you me, I will not be surprised. Say, young game no because me no rich condus. Okay. Me nyaje me rocks na me je me nkati esi ho a. Na say me ni bishop or rich condus ne. Enya asem ketwa. Ntu pa betimi adwan ne. Me keka sa anwoma na maka nyina boma. I will not be surprised and then you PSG be share 3 ama Real Madrid share 1.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah.
3-1.
Yeah.
Okay. So we dey obon to for back on second match na.
I hope the men ko ho be because the best benyasi at the end of my year they are sporting for the Beku. But Omahu didn't new Manchester City for no. Okay. Champions League sometimes you need the favor of the draw. And so I didn't even a Manchester City enya in the round of 16 against Sporting Lisbon. They will win, and at the same time they will qualify.
But I'll say striker Oboy Jibu 11 on the dot. Today's post you best sorry pram to Brenna ye bebe fie na ene montwen yensan say won some more a ye beka akyeremo oposo hunu de nura esi ye between NSA ene Kumase Asante Kotoko pitch panel no ho entiase na ba se de omo kana no a ye ba beka ho asam say NSA kasama for part e kasa ye na ye bedi nkomo bi ne ahwe enura standing match ba kon so e ba so amonsem wa ha has Kotoko e de yete no e sa 50 70 120 200. Okay, good. And also and the NSA so they are to just say 6 match celebrations in the Ebakoso ewo Cape Coast nemo mumia ombe juma ewo ho near Baba share second round no you could try ho na ba we no 25 28 and also baso near Baba share ahenema kokobin kwese da ye eni ebie takra de no anaji police station ho no a ne de atum mesiko wo be ho no na hwe TV no a e free screening and na airco wo de okwa also tie enka on today's post waba say a free screening ye nyo kapre ye be hwe wapom na yade bi wo ho ya ko e de amount takra de number ne je na friend ye amount discount 0547 578494 0547 578494 fit mo pate clinic tabia ta kum nyansa enu nti ya yen sachet form honey ginseng black pepper tomorrow
nyako Mr. Kasamafo Edema Kumasi Asante Kotoko na edi enkomo anopay on oye passports and oye pa TV. Be boti enka ye moache emu akwaba e de ba oye pass oye pa FM no oye pa TV. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Okay. Hello Dave.
Okay. Mr. David Obinyako, communication director, Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Yamu akwaba de boy pa FM or pa TV. Say anopay ye 2 years after when daje any di enkomo. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Dave Otimenka.
Me to nka.
Ba sa voice no akire. Okay. Dave nya botema na yensan na ye ho ne emre bi. Why na ye
Stevenson.
They are unfairly criticized based on the information that I also have, especially based on say, I've been very close to football administration and I've dealt with the NSA at various centers.
Well, my jibu ngwemi ne be this time around. You bet me David ye.
David, I'm akwaba bi major tumze say de bibia e kama. Okay. Yada asese wanya bre e de ama na no pay on today's post or Repa FM or Repa TV and no AD enkomo. Nano memenda and Asante Kotoko a ball league game El Baba Sports Stadium against Accra Lions. Before the game, no, and Inyan and TSA, there was a little misunderstanding between National Sports Authority and the officials of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Emuna ni TSA, because of that misunderstanding, no, National Sports Authority in Pennyfor are requested for a meeting between Kotoko and Uomo, which ANRA and meeting no eba. So Yenya no pay our chita for TD. Se bibi course wo meeting na betimi aboy na ye hu de course wo meeting in between Asante Kotoko and National Sports Authority a
sorry come me na wase na me fa tia so ma obi a wo he le obi a wo tie na no pe no kre da me menda na ye ne Accra Lions e wo match na ye do stadium hono na hihye ento asomo mai nti ye ne pay for car say omunyi free ho pitch panel of another company National Sports Authority for new local partnership without the notice of Asante Kotoko. They will do on here who say you know as corner line maybe I find say yeah camera angle na camera caption. Nti they send me by National Sports Authority ka ekwa he Asante Kotoko stickers ni the match panels in Africa Park and I choose your family to see. So at the end of the day it's me go match but because of misunderstanding nearby anything ebeboa say for be free afan na ya classes na ye be actually into the national head in charge of sports authority area Professor Chumesi is share afan na how be had na some tools there we able to resolve it amicably reinforcing ka penny January na isuasa and so I think that no a chance on ban Odiwa, Yenya Park, or Kasama NAC, granted interviews to explain normal course with details of the meeting. And we believe she was not part of the meeting in the first place, not part in the meeting as we also channel to make sure I can only make it now. It's not on a makeable solution, no one about so. Now, I'm in Trabitia, the solution which is a national sports authority because of a new legislative instrument that bind their mom, say a more fast to engineer to revenue. I'm only discussing several ways. Almost waiting about Mobra because all those are the Kotoko, about matches are anything else can be brain, over revenue shortfalls, no so I so they're also trying to be innovative to help find ways almost with some music as a minding. That also. So discussing number degree now never born it and say National Sports Authority in FIFA page family MUC Park no Sabas at Kotoko Bobo. Namu Omuna Sante Kotoko entrance and engine say page panels no be park no so every advert and sponsors so Kotoko ebe timi etwa kakaka also at the National Sports Authority no and I do the director in charge of Baba Sports to the area Mr. Pia we heard him so we get back to us now this is will be the actual mayor so you will be able to catch him no yeah na abwa ama yet ma resolve the situation once and for all at least to the end of the season into Kaka make our meeting.
Okay. One saying say Pat was not part of any meeting amoyeye between the two leaders, Ashanti Region Penyin and National, Professor Chumesi and Mr. Apia. There was one area Pat erased about finding solutions to avoid some misunderstanding na esi na no memedano. Menim so benya benwe tiesa Pat na saying say omo ato de amamo say more mount to mo pitch panel El Baba Yara Sports Stadium omo to the amam say you are going to pay between 200 to 500 Ghana cedis. Me pese me school to the west into the NTA part na answer mo de atudwa
pitch panel you charge percentage ticket any
me tie point I'm making is see any year there was an agreement say National Sports Authority beko omo de bo beba sa Asante Kotoko mount to omo pitch panel El Baba Yara Sports Stadium.
Papa Social Science, perfect. So the agreement was a National Authority, no, Kumasi, no, Baba Sports Stadium, the Kwakushia. Now, finish be a person, but in terms of crime, the first one charge per pitch panel, no. But you as I'm not officially, I'm communicating my into walk say in about tax equity figures. Maybe, no, our figures, no, I'm not on my plan, but we are expecting, say, Kwanya, if I hold the meeting. Respecting each other party in secrecy, you know, operated and come make it back to us. But anyway, we are still waiting. Say, you better National Sports Authority for me.
Okay. Then they say the young Komu settlement after every meeting, and they say, Asante Kotoko Atuama National Sports Authority. Kotoko, ready? Say mo pitch panel be a mobile mount at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium when mobile home games no, mobile clear BB to the National Sports Authority.
I mean, in your 2 man, it was a decision. Professor one take his decision. You look at several areas for this marriage revenue. Several areas now. I find those one. I think the reason a touch moment the two parties. That was the agreement. And you was I take so that National Sports Authority come with this resolution. And we are waiting for them to get by. Then how much the bar? Yes, we say we also have maybe 1 or 2 things to discuss around it. Now, Abuamine, marriage, a position, a Rebuana, no, my Saturday, no, NCB.
Okay. Dave, you better was on the meeting. You better rock was a match in man and a benya of him.
Patriot, I could say that much.
And you're a crabby. Muplesa of late or more promunya chance and return Isaac Opon, Fabio Gama. There's almost situation need to say some way available I'm betting about Sunday again
I mean can say we are preparing for a very crucial match against Akaso. The details of our preparation we are holding on for now.
Is it also a spiritual battle no movie ana? Okay. Mr. David Obinya ko yebeda wase na
Emma Dave Nkwansa na Dave anya bia no supporters be free hako ye de ye tete 50 70 120 200 more as Kotoko Mati get free way
I think I'm a friend of him number, but Minyanti was in the Clementino, the point is away match. I know I can have Premier League. The away team does not have much in terms of good proceeds. And they get between a day for Obi match. It's Minyanti was in the officially now who be just in a move and I'm not paying money as the target people are quitting. But we don't really have much in terms of fire in another first word get trees.
Joe, Madam was say David Obin Nyako and a pay so nya bre Edema Isaac into us way.
Yeah, you know, Anna send him the first, and I think say sometimes we unfairly criticize in Tamale and make sure one game Olympics team is here Accra Sports Stadium. Honestly, I think say the Sharks no Olympics. I say overball anything Shantere Jobo Mabaso in terms of pitch and standard no.
Okay.
So far the MC is the best you can get.
No Tamale the say
yes.
And correct.
You understand? It's you know because if you are renting Babaya Sports 20,000 plus. But when him
clearly ma shata wale munana.
Sa 20,000 plus and obetia if you are going to rent.
Tell me kasa understand say friend partnership.
Yes, and you know all the kakra no so ba kakra na mo metia the same place mu yamko.
Okay.
Now what fact is that Sokoto Bobat Babaya bia anything in Boka.
Then Momboka.
For example, Kotokobo now against Lions, they grossed around 50,000 plus. So I say, yet it's the area scale coins when 5,000 plus. But when you after the match, Zoom Lion 4, Egmont Baye, and Yama be police first car moje security be a baby, you know. Now 5,000, no, they say once you come and carry this phone. According to part, 5% and 10% but me some sky coin is for no and why 5%
Okakotoko Aka Lions.
No maker bibia
security cost.
Much
expenses. Area. Sika na ebeka no after all these deductions. Based on part explanation of the man.
No go police for no. You understand?
And what you so
and after match ni atete the piaka. No be eventer. O ma wie no. O me mfa so say ki face answer kotoko abo match over Bayara Sports Stadium. You understand? So we rent Heroes Parker. You be wie no. They get o me mfa so.
Suminu kotoko ne kinvest on bo matches do say.
Oh, say on so
assuming so we 5,000 now can dey anything to go buy ya. We have 5,000 be for I say.
No,
yes.
Okay, first you know. First now no more match but
Zach, unim dey say we no. Ayesa we specification. Enya possible say Kotokobo against us El Baba Sports Stadium. Kotokobo Africa El Baba Sports Stadium. O say omo ye Heroes Parker. Sika ombenya play ni say channel.
But why you not say only has nko.
Etina me say
Zach. Understand? And match say now we ya Kotokobo Lions. Sika call mo na be 5,000. You understand? Scale coins when they 5,000. It's my mom for specific or in their last game that they played there.
But my me who the Umbo African so I send us here.
Oh, you make and the analysis of today. Yes, and the Asian and the can was understand.
Okay.
It's you know Parker rent yes, or quarantine park now. Kotoko scan your quarantine park now. They hand everything over to you. It's me feel say in the first place, the CEO on that day no. Na can you say KC because Anka two parties in no according to consensus no me agree to a pointer. Okay, the best AC and KC.
Tiano no wana who to no for now because when you say and I'm finding the Amakotoko.
No, say yeah. So you say you see you can't say me now. You say Africa. South Africa you can influence sponsor Babaya Sports Stadium. You see let's and you be what as your Kotoko because you are not renting the stadium no you know why I say only NS phone agree no more
but this is the case NS and Frekotoko no this had go see one you know sana because only any dey mame
this that's the facility wow it's a partnership and I'm boa if you rent the stadium man dey pay home boy they will give it to you come baby but because it's not you've not rented it they partially own something and also partially own bibi no e was some nya no mo buy into agreement
I want to miss me general.
it's a kotoko ya there the NSA must be aware NSA so yeah kotoko must be aware
What they are making so then NSA di nipa ne de na eba no o man kan kire kotoko
e so kotoko so di de no ko yan so o man kan kire o mo
de na kotoko de ko man kan kire
o mo so panes ni na no
oh na say panes from the start of the league is what that
yes I know no because
and they are aware
league is what that you understand
o tell me say munya we say high sense na no munya we so munya problem on that
oh you see you only say yes because they are there match be esi wo but any specification so o so and now ko obeko o mo so say esi wo
oh based on the David and the common so tie ne ya then ma prof anya jatum say bibi antwa yi on their part
and yes bibi antwa yi on their part they just feel that and so munya no obiano like me need the word that you use so
for the David to
yes no munya no embrand to a certain you know be ante no wase then they move and yes e bia o mo nto mo wase as I said no
unu amomra bi
that you know say when the games are called I can last game confess about baba yara on boka they have to use their own regenerator to go and pay the other you know
and then you know na benyam so there's
yes it's automatic say if you play there no benyam so because we have the cost involved in maintaining the stadium, the cost involved in cleaning, the cost involved in security and all those expenditure now they will tell you say the teams in the air bomb on come on when they are playing on come on because big match be can ko once in a year and me boy just one in a year and be ko has our baba that stadium other matches na you understand it I think say we as much as the person say here the
can you me any covid in film percentage in so for man nti ni nyina so mo check ni nyina into factor
o say the covid national year obi obobo so
so mo kaska ba mo na make
two parties now must understand say I'm happy because I say the director prof and co are trying to meet and finalize on
based on their part can also measures
and finalize on the amount that he thinks Kotoko should pay for every pitch panel on
just 2 minutes
more. For the first time you see and when I saw for the first time me who a coach that tactically like he didn't outplayed Kotoko but tactically he was up there expose the Kotoko weakness that teams entering weakness like expose our weakness no why you want to match some boy teams created decent chance against Kotoko but and to so but on Sunday okay Lions Kotoko game now one pattern of expose from start to end
baby ba kono mo bo hosa
yes and omo use Christopher Champon omo right back no and he been just them no just them 40 from first half to the end of the game a Champon was exposing the left side of Kotoko sa eti chances no munya no say when again mama on the picture of on the 49th minute now you see just a Champon is across no and that boy striker it's okay in the middle of the new and Japan we the answer be we never na ball na akwashe akwara me ndekwa eniti e ko chanti the ball no ko fa nchen
to expose mo nyina wie na
I did say that game na 2-1 omo we na still at 2-1 say 60 something minutes there once again it's that kind of chance na biom oko onima you see 60 something minutes 2-1 say that game na 2-1 this ball so 61 10 seconds show and all person to almost say ekwe nim say aro unya control na tiro dey say the ball no to usake ne no tap she and akwa no ko ya eti consistently you see that Christopher Champon Lions will say omo ti ko ball mo front omo ya omo ji ball na no omo say
omo de ko ho na
ball na do ball tre no asma wa tre fiache enti okwa onti mba so mo do ya Kotoko hala no about to mechi and they will just run out. You know, I think Coach James Francis on that day, tactically, how are the team no, but for their wastefulness and indecision making, would have been different story about Bayara Sports Stadium. And I think I want to see how Bodu so tactically how he will set no so with my picket
every day see
every tactically how Francis set up team to Dr. back line
yo Kofi
Tino
nyane kakra cry
say makapinko
Kabi so okay well so obani
Tino Kotokoni National Sports Authority. I think Saturday I say getting it clear. Na mente Zakito so the music can see kasem say the music chain no. Because one gross any net in yetiase. You use kind of margin na no. You want to change your friend gross. You are the beko obi a ho na net. Na the woman say and now say partnership idea no moyo no teams no me no say sports authority ni Asante Kotoko security omo pra ho ene sa na mani nyina no omu wi a sika no ya gigi scan wo stadium nyina de omo sakan no ane ya tisa de ni free mu gross no America no ane ya tifree mu ti na sports cancer de boka ane tua omu tifree scan e bom e omu mi no nyina de ano ho
Let's say much gross no much time money na free. The gross here and VAT.
And I can't borrow no
the 5%. Gross and the
10%. No,
honest can I
no, my dinner too complex.
No,
the whole thing is that you give no omunya 100 cities. 100 cities no. Your sister security is you omo ka 5 cities. You better film. Come on be cleaning ho. You better 2 cities. You better film. A kabia ho bia no ne atete afirim ya wie ye no aka 70 series no ehona Asante Kotoko be fa mu 90% na National Sports Authority afa mu 10%. Everything na kwaya say National Sports Authority na etu omo kan do omo boka na you are not getting the point well, because there be instances Kotoko abo game me say National Sports Authority do omo boka enya Kotoko matches. I'm being emphatic here. And that's something Kotoko matches. Fucking face abra. Some boka major tum. But Kotoko there be instances National Sports Authority. Enya sika 80,000 and you know we never and Kotoko game. What does it? I said that one match na Kotoko so everywhere if you buy because what one moment I friends like Eduardo Ebranda who kwada Kotoko bo matches if you ho ana say Kotoko do tuanka. Utu dem na say ho if you on opera. So tawa Kotoko you involved no. Edie omo mwaka asem say metie David here David ama asem na say simple they say as it stands now no omo try say National Sports Authority dey the amount I want to believe to say yenu aba no part empanifo I release the amount no na so maka che no say sika omo be ko on board ni between 2 to 5 no oka ho asem
utie David here meeting dia mem e bia na mo di hu nkomo asie be
so make say no na em sem perifo aka
na apie afri na
because meeting dey come yanka David be confirm say na see so once abasa no then Kotoko will have to I think say Kotoko omi be ikakra
metima sa jojo yeah
because say 200 metima 2 that's even go to 5 e ho na e bia National Sports Authority be ka say bia omu free say yem find a compromise figure so e ho no hem free me no dash. So one, the good thing is that Asante Kotoko I get to say yes omo ebetua bibi pay the arrangement National Sports Authority they buy you know omo ajetum you know I say amicable settlement. That is why I'm cool with that. You know say yes CDR yen train the next few days in yen hwe the omo be ko akoto Asante Kotoko anim any figure on between arrival I on between e dey ayadwuma
enchele kakra
but you say time no aya Matias
okay but that's it you
Tino, this NSA Kotoko issue no say be kai first time I starting awo hwa but Saturday de na ka blue to ya bem me kai say during Dr. Support administration ebisi Loziko Pokuntis administration ebisi omumi no administration de esi ene say Usi ebo games over by Sports Stadium. obehu an so obi sunsuo no oton kotoko efu say omakwa kwaje evapio nipa na eba stadium aba behwe ball no enu nti na company bia expressing interest so person sponsor club no enti saa dia then obi a person aba stadium ho beton nsu a ade no ngoton evapio nsu tino so at the mention as you but ubehu na different products.
It is arrangement na jibu awsa kotoko na ya na me ne evapio na adi nkomo nti sa wo person wo be ton bi dia awsa wo kotoko fa na akwa evapio fo no
say evapio for no so the emphasis say you say a partnership actually say obia nya bibi fi no yonko
good
so what the mention say common sense should tell you say running a football club is not easy at the same time maintaining a football stadium is not easy but at the end of the day the offer two parties now say kase baba ya sports the game on Sunday the ebeton wa mani pa hu no the ode ba e asante kotoko ngono na supporters ba eti die hu na no memeda no say National Sports Authority advertise company bi a omaje omo poda na so enter into sponsorship no they did that because omo nim say supporters beba stadium ne da ho nei onko he scoreboard na ya so a National Sports Authority advertise bibi ana wo twemo stadium sabi no ma so omo scoreboard no mo advertise bibi omo ye bi sa ombe ye sa de ne because omo fu se o se kotoko ana kin face abebo match baba ya Sports Stadium a omo chita for beba enti wo company no ba ne ye no National Sports Authority ye National Sports Authority ye ne won tenase na ye ne wo tenase a ye bebo match na enipa beba ne advertising enti it clearly tells you say Clementino at this point based on advertising and sponsorship the say konya say wo mu pa ye the clubs because when when it comes to other areas the usage of the stadium and when you say nipa ne ba yet tika ye bo nyina free ma the National Sports Authority e won share and at the club involved also won share whether say ye kotoko na kin Pfizer in this case ye kasa aba kotoko nti ye kotoko eti before say wo hwe sa nyoma ni nyina I know sometimes I struggle to understand the NSA kakra. I struggle to understand the NSA because since I had this stadium no say Kimso no I'm not sure say other events akoso e stadium ya bind the omanya sika football. Nobody can debate it. Nobody.
Say events in there back bi na bebu.
Nobody can debate it. Say omanya sika wa other events e football. And we shouldn't forget say si ekesika National Sports Authority na 10% na enye no na eduru time si e be maintain stadium na be renovation go fa ba wo the GRT no eno na kwa aban ne ho eno bi na aban yi mo de be renovation
yes ti ade GRT no enya no
yes eno bi na aban no e de be renovation enye o mo 10,000 eno ye for normal yi na ye ka se ye baba ya Sports Stadium ufu say 10,000 20,000 no munya no e be ti renovate baba ya Sports Stadium aban ne hwe sika ebia NSA through organization of their events etimi akọ tax aya taxi from the stadium and near yibi near the renovated stadium no it actually say whilst NSA no a government institution no there's another government institution na omo nyina benefit from event football e was stadium o etina minim reason why Saturday no ekoye watch me first day me who say advert no scoreboard no so me yam shame
because me dem say madika huna na minim ne me huna
me yam shame ti me ga say me yam shame na me boa. Nti it's good say Professor Chumesi being the leader of the NSC abane asante kotoko abeshia na omatena se no mato ato adwene yempo football no tino enyoma bebre and there be ameka say kotoko ne has no man ne du omo ho abro kotoko ene has sa clubs mi no omo ne du omo ho abro how influential omo ye wo ye mamu no they don't use their power when it comes to certain issues. Anya hwe kura no yahu the late Professor Tamils obey board chairman wa has too popularity na ogeni ye no obey influential in one of our biggest political parties NDC nam so be the president omanpanyin da akofo ebey board chairman of Asante Kotoko through that popularity na ogeni ye no tino nam so be the president of Ghana it actually say football ya there o don hu boy because of nipa dominant dey especially Kotoko has eno ase ya ka say has for sign sponsorship Kengen now mo ka che national sports authority for say come person ka Kengen for nsu nko na turn stadium o NS ni so won ti ase ma has me ton nsu no
kapisa na kwesi omso mo nti ase
me twen omo response
okay
but
so we say won ti ase
okay yeah but likely some because as because we be asida
area we dey
won ti ase say e hono na eduru a I'm expecting Kotoko has to use their political influence house
you know Everpure no and I had wanted some combat sell Everpure anyajuma
it is open so beton show stadium a e simple as ABCD has for some sponsors here Kengen omonka so munsi obi an kwama ni ntonsuo banka Kengen for sponsor has there other na yenka say what person tonsuo stadium
compare ni bibra
Kotoko Kengen na beton stadium e simple as ABCD
enya part 2 na wia me da sepa Kofi
Tino well na exercise bi o ho na wasenka meye on our class of folk how more prepare ahead of the big game in Bekoso on Sunday near 10 say has be fire him okay
wow
near 10 say at the moment the points gap between House of Folk and Kumasi Asante Kotoko is very wide, a huge one, and a down mountain. The club on air try per technical team non comodity me did in Hawkeye Saturday me catch us a greater amount of minutes and over 70 minutes. The mates from technical team no and she say yeah or preparation be beer towards the game is how they can work on goal scoring.
This week
goal scoring. Once again, goal scoring. House of Folk training session no geared towards goal scoring. Na omobe try so mbetimi invite 1 or 2 players and so mbetimi create bibi because Salif Ibrahim free hono omo ye hu so mo lucky bibi kakra since the absence of Salif Ibrahim through the injury now pick you know.
Men da to because okay so le dey na bem to no be creativity for now ma pe
how to create bet is more about scoring, especially because of game now, my boy against RTU. Who was that chance in Isaac Mensah saying
no
born again? Who that video no what that glorious opportunity now Isaac Mensah.
We are.
This is the ball. It's Omatenasi. They went back. Okay, House of